Good morning, peeps. I'm wondering how today. This is Evelyn Churan at Churan's Tiny Homestead in Marks Day, Ontario, Canada. Yeah, building a tiny home. So the cost is not what people think it is at all whatsoever. I'm converting a small barn into a tiny house. I have additions on it. Now, when I bought this place, it was an empty shell. None of this stuff was here. All that was in was the electrical, but no hydro had been run, nothing. So to date, I have actually spent about $200,000 cash. I bought the property for $150,000 with the barn on it, but it had a lot of things to do. It was full of garbage, old trailers. Uh, there was, I don't know, I had to get 3 different bins. $10,000 in tipping fees was the first month of owning the property. The whole listing was an outright lie. It was not ready for water hookup, which I haven't even put the plumbing in yet. There was no well. A whole bunch of stuff. The whole listing was a lie. Unfortunately, even if I tried to sue the people, I would never see my money out of it that way because it's just ridiculous contract. Anyways, I've gone to the bank. It looks like I'm going to get a loan to finish the build. I'm going to be buying out the last lender. However, when you're buying an off-grid property that is not built or doesn't have a dwelling on it already with hookups, none of the banks are going to help you with it. So I've had to put $200,000 cash into the property up front. I put $180,000 down. I've paid another $25,000. I still owe with interest $56,000 as of today. The banks are going to buy out the last lender for me to get them out of my hair because they've been stalking the property. Whatever happened here in the past, I have no idea. I don't care. It's none of my business. But they keep coming on the property and keep harassing me. So I don't know what was going on here in the past. It leads to that it was used as a crack shack or a party house at one time. So I've had to put no trespassing signs. I've had to call the OPP on 4 occasions. I've had to call my lawyer. I've had to call my brother, which is my realtor. The list goes on. I've had to put signs up, cameras. I had to take all kinds of extra measures to keep these people off the property. And it's one of my neighbors and then 3 more doors down. They were involved with the last owners. They're all friends in cahoots together, and they keep sticking their nose in my business and calling building inspectors, and the list goes on. But the building inspectors and electrical authorities and everything stepped up to the plate and stuck up for me, and as well as the OPP, and got these people out of my hair. But it took 2 years to get them to leave me alone. It's been an absolute stressful nightmare. The property's come a long way. I've got hot houses. I got vegetables growing now, but I'm pinching pennies. You know what I mean? Even though I have a half decent income, developing a property is extremely expensive. And I have to come up with $5,000 in the next month. Well, in the next week to put a deposit so that the well can be drilled. But even with the well and running water, that doesn't finish the build of the bathroom or the sinks or the kitchen or anything like that. That's going to cost me another $10,000 in labor and parts. I've got most of the parts, but I mean, it's very expensive to build. And if you don't have the money to do it, don't even consider going off grid. It's cash up front. Because I've got it to the point where I have it, where I have hydro and I do have cisterns with city water. I got gardens here now. I've got it's almost done being built. I mean, it's just trim and stuff that has to go up now. It took me, that's what it took for the banks to help me. But that's because I'm halfway developed. Unless your property is partially developed, they're not going to help you. You have to have a dwelling on there. Now, the building inspectors made me do a whole bunch of extra work here in order to even stay living, which I had no idea that they have a right to do that, but they do. If it's not a livable dwelling, by law, they can lock up the doors and you cannot live on the property until it's fully built. They gave me a break here. They could have stopped me from living here. But when I bought it, it was summer and I got everything done by winter for water, insulated, heated water storage, electricity. But I had to do that all within 6 months. I'm talking a dig. Electricity was $21,000 with the construction and the hookup. Getting the water set up and everything was like another $5,000. Finishing the ceiling, which isn't completely done yet, but it's covered and it passed. That was another $10,000. Hooking up water into the house with a pump and a hose for now, passed as pushed water. The new outhouse counted as a septic tank. That was another $5,000 to do. It all adds up. Every bill is $5,000 to $10,000. The garbage that was on the property didn't even make it feasible for me to move here for the first month because it was just a disaster. It was a hazard. It was full of toxins and metals and garbage bags of dirty diapers. And I mean, there had to be 100 garbage bags of dirty diapers, which blows me away because right at the road, every Wednesday, you can put out 6 garbage bags and of garbage. And these people just kept piling garbage on the property for like 2 years instead of taking it to the road or hiring somebody to take it to the road when they weren't here or whatever the case was. Just disgusting. Dirty, dirty, dirty. We're still finding garbage, me and my groundskeepers. Now I've hired groundskeepers. They take care of the cutting the grass and trimming the trees and stuff like that, and cutting down any trees that need to be cut down and cut up into firewood. That's another thing with the heat. To put in a wood stove, it cost me $11,000, but that included 20 cords of wood in a woodshed. That was cement board. The backdrop I did, I went with everything with steel instead of bricks or anything like that because it was cheaper to go with checkerboard aluminum. So I did checkerboard aluminum through the whole main part of the cabin, behind the stove, behind the sinks, behind the wood stove. And then I painted gray and everything matches that way. But yeah, I'm sitting on pins and needles right now waiting to hear from the bank today. I was supposed to hear yesterday. And, the paperwork I have to put through, I had to give them like what the building is, who used to own it, all kinds of history on it. And I've got approval from all the inspectors now. I passed all the electrical inspections. And I mean, you got to do things their way or they will shut you down. So if you are in an unorganized township, unless you live way the heck in the bush somewhere where building inspectors cannot show up, that's the only way you're going to get away with building whatever you want. But then you don't have a road out. It's unsafe. You've got no access to highways that are plowed. You got no access to mail. You have to go out, every week. It could be a blizzard, a big snowstorm. The roads could be closed down if there is any roads. So if you're living inside the bush somewhere like 2 miles into the bush or 10 miles in the bush, you need to be physically fit. And you need to make sure you visit a doctor once in a while because nobody's going to go in there and rescue you, if there's not a helicopter pad, you don't have a two-way radio or whatever. And even setting up a two-way radio, you have to put up a great big tower on your property so that you do have emergency services. And it's not 911 services, but you can get a hold of a pilot or whoever to come and get you if you're having a heart attack. But by the time they would get there, you'd be dead. So living that way is not that good with children and stuff like that. I mean, you can do it, but good luck to you. I'm seeing a lot of challenges here. Um, I think I'm 3 steps ahead and I'm 5 steps behind. Then I'm dealing with all the trauma I went through trying to get my life back. As a matter of fact, my life insurance policies with London Life. I got these policies back when I was a 10-year-old kid, and all my policies were mature by the time I was 40 years old. I had taken my dividends to fix my teeth. I had a $7,000 or $8,000 bill for my teeth in British Columbia at the time. And we're talking 25 years ago. Anyways, I come to the life insurance policies now to discuss it with them. They said, well, you took money out on them. I said, well, no, I didn't. I took the dividends. It was my money to take. But now they're trying to tell me I have to pay back 18,000. I'm like, pardon me, it was my money. And that's what they told me at the time. But now they turned around and said it was a loan, and now it's gone up with interest. And I'm like, what? So I had to hire this other company. They're legally taking care of it for me. So we're going to close all those life insurance policies, take the cash value out of what's left, and cancel them all. They're not legal what they did to me. So they're going to use that case as an example because they have 2-3 more customers that are my age going through the same thing with this life insurance policy. I had 2 policies. They turned it into 5 different policies and just keep charging me more money. And I said, my dividends pay the bills because I took my old dividends out, but it still keeps getting dividends. And the dividends would make the payments on it. Then they turned around and said, well, no, that's our money, not yours, but it is my money. So we're canceling everything out because they've been ripping me off for some 45, 50 years. And for policies that are worth $2,000-$3,000 cash, and that's it if I die. And I'm like, what the hell good is that? So I'm going to a different company, and they explained everything to me, what this life insurance has been doing to me. So I'm going through Primerica, Rick Pereira, and him and his legal team are going to fix all of this for me and get me a new life insurance policy that's going to pay for my burial should something happen to me. I have to take a physical, blood work, everything to get a life insurance policy with these people. So I said, yes, we're going to do that. Now I have to start paying $85 a month for life insurance policy for the rest of my life because the other company stole my life insurance policy, literally. So here I was thinking I was paid up with life insurance policies. I had like 4 policies for like $40,000 a piece. And in retrospect, they aren't. And it was explained to me why. And I'm pretty pissed off about it. I've lost 2 policies of $35,000 and 2 policies, one of $17,000 and one of $2,000. But this is what they were doing behind my back. Instead of giving the dividends to the people, me being their customer, they were taking the dividends and opening new life insurances without my permission. And I ended up with 4 or 5 different life insurance policies. And then they're saying, oh, well, by the way, you owe on this life insurance policy. But I didn't take the extra life insurance policies out. So this is a little weird what these insurance companies are doing. And so Rick is doing all the talking for me to this life insurance company that has been ripping me off. And he's going to wipe out all the debt with it too, because it was my money. I'm not in debt. So they are also using my case as well as 2 or 3 other people that have come to these people to sort it out. This has happened to. It's not just me, it's happened to. So they're going to use it as an example in case law to educate people so this doesn't happen to other people, right? So I said, yes, you can use my case and show it to them. And like, this is ridiculous. They're stealing from people. So like, I paid into something that was mature. I paid into it for 35 years. And then all of a sudden, 40 years later, it's no good. So these people are stealing. So I'm going to get a different one that makes money for me. It makes X amount of dollars every year over 10 years. And by the time it's 10 years, it's a $50,000 policy. By the time I've had it for 10 years, it's going to be worth $150,000. So that's what I'm investing into. And this way, my grandchildren and my son will be taken care of and my funeral will be paid for. So you guys need to be aware with things like that. Check into your life insurance policies. Give Rick Pereira a call from Primerica. I'm very happy with their services, and he's helping me straighten out a lot of my past. And that includes with like labor disputes. If you're in a labor dispute of some sort, Primerica has a whole team of lawyers that you can pay a small fee every month and you get a free lawyer, and you'll never pay for a lawyer because you're a member. And he said he's used it a lot too. So that's another thing. And then the other thing, he's also helping me with my will to make sure that I do everything right and legally. So, yeah, so I've been talking to this man quite a bit lately, sort of, straightening out my life. So those are the good things. And now with the banks, I'm waiting to hear any day. Hopefully the well goes in this month, but it's still going to be a long time by the time the build is done, because the labor cost is astronomical. I can't build my own house. I'm not a builder. I'm a cook. So these are the challenges I'm running into. None of my friends have stepped up to the plate to help me. I've helped all of my friends, but not one of them comes and knocks at the door and says, Evelyn, do you need help with anything? As a matter of fact, not one of them showed up to help me move. I had to hire a mover. That was $400 to bring my stuff here and rent a moving truck. And nobody has ever come to help me. I've helped all of them on their properties. They never, ever paid me for any help that I gave them. And they never, ever showed up to help me to return the favors. So I've kind of cut out all my friends. I'm kind of done with that. Everybody's take. And when I need the help, nobody's there for me. So I'm done with that. I'm done. I'm not going to be taken advantage by anybody anymore. I have boundaries. And I would rather sit here alone than be lonely in a relationship with anybody. And I'm not interested in dating anybody. I don't want that. There's no space for a second person to live here unless you're my son and my grandchildren. Otherwise, you're not welcome here. I'm not into that stuff. You want to come and visit for a day, I'm fine with that. But I don't want a pile of people hanging around here. And I like my privacy. I like my quiet. I'm not ready for big crowds yet. I don't want to be around big crowds. I'm very content that way. And I'm just waiting for my referral. I found a psychiatrist here in Sudbury that I'll be visiting once a month that they're going to be paying for. However, the company still will not buy me out. I would rather be bought out and not have any ties to them at all whatsoever. Unfortunately, they won't let me, which I know is a lie also. So this is what this law team is going to come in handy. So I'm dealing with everything one step at a time because I really don't want to be a part of this company. It's, if they would just buy me out, I could pay off my place, finish the build, have no ties with anybody, leave me alone so that I can start healing and getting better. I've got so many triggers. People will say stuff to me and I just lose it because it's none of their business. Like one girlfriend of mine was always saying to me, you got to meet a man. You got to let me set you up. It's not normal for you to be alone. And I had it up to here and I said, that's enough. I want nothing to do with you. Like no means no. Couple of other guys I know from 40 years ago keep hitting on me and I've told them no, like don't contact me anymore. I like being alone. I want to be a part of my grandchildren's life and my son's life, not everybody else's life. I want to be left alone. And people don't seem to understand that. And they think that I've got issues because I don't want a husband. I've never had a husband. I've never been married. I've done everything alone on my own. I don't want anything to do with anybody. I don't want people hanging around here that are not invited. And that's just the way I am. I like being alone. I like my privacy. And I don't want people knowing my personal life. It's none of their business. If I meet somebody, great. If I don't, great too, but I'm not looking and I'm not interested. So stay away from me when it comes to that stuff. I'm going to have to cut this film short, But I'm working on the build here. I'm going to start tacking mesh inside of the smaller dwellings to keep spiders and stuff out, and mice and things like that. And then it's going to get insulated on the roof and stuff like that. But I can't do anything for another month because I have all my insurances to pay this month. And I'm really strapped for cash. Like I said, I'm paycheck to paycheck. Anyways, have a nice day, folks. Churan's Tiny Homestead. Bye.